All right, friends, good morning to you all. We've got a live look over the city of Fountains downtown area as sun comes up here around the Missouri River Valley. Clear skies out there. We'll just have a few passing clouds for much of the morning and early afternoon. By late afternoon, we start to build up the cloud cover, and then we get into our winter storm situation for the weekend. We've got a lot more on tap. I've got brand new information coming in. We've got our future forecast data, but it's on the short range, so it's more detailed now. This is going to give us a better idea of snow accumulations, of ice accumulations, and of course our wind as well. We've got new updates to watches and warnings to discuss. So much getting involved with this winter storm system. I want to make sure that we are transparent with all of the information that we have seen so far and what we believe will ensue during the winter storm event. Good morning to you all. First Warn 5 meteorologist Greg Bennett here. Much to discuss. I'm going to get right on into it and just talk about some major bullet points of what kind of characteristics we can see to this winter storm system moving towards our Saturday and then moving on in towards our Sunday. All right. First things first. We could absolutely see ice as thick as 1 inch out there. And it does include the potential of around the actual metro. To be more specific, it's more just south of I-70. So if you live in Olathe or perhaps Overland Park or perhaps Lee Summit, you guys see a better opportunity for local areas to see that inch of ice. Significant snow is absolutely expected for Sunday. We are now at a guaranteed 100% chance of snow shower activity to occur within the area. Travel impacts are going to be high. Okay, we are talking about snow accumulation on top of icy conditions, on top of wind gusts that get up to about 30 or 35 miles per hour now, which could then blow snow all over the place, creating exceptionally low visibility. Even if there isn't much snow on the roadways, the visibility alone is going to make this extremely treacherous to do any kind of traveling in your vehicle. When it comes down to KCI, the international airport, we are absolutely expecting major delays or potentially even cancellations due to this winter storm system. All right. So with all of that being said, let's show you one of the latest future forecast models that we've got. This is the short range model. This is going to show us more detail. I've got two that I can show you right now. This one that I'm about to show you is what's called the IBM model. You guys all remember IBM, right? The computer company. Well, they've created a weather model for our computer graphics system called WSI. This is actually pretty good. It's what we call a blended model. So let's move forward in this, how it kind of blends several different types of models together and creates a separate new model. This one has been indicating all morning long that we are going to build up a freezing rain and maybe flurry threat by the mid and late morning of Saturday to our south and western counties. It's going to be very isolated, but it grows quickly up towards I-70 and the city itself. Harrisonville, for example, could be seeing maybe a quick flurry out there. And then there's some of that freezing rain or perhaps wintry mix around Ottawa, Paola, and Lacine. Let's move closer to the late morning time frame. This is where it gets very interesting quickly. Scattered snow flurries are expected across maybe the northern side of the metro, and we anticipate on the southern end of I-70 and downtown getting into scattered freezing rain opportunities. This is around 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 p.m. As we move past 6 o'clock at night, we then gather into a freezing rain threat here around the city and I-70 just as a whole. We lift the snow shower threat towards the north. St. Joe, Buchanan County, moving up towards Cameron, Maryville, Bethany, Mercer and Grundy counties. These locations see much more likelihoods of snowfall than freezing rain. But from about 5 to 7 p.m. at night, all the way through the night, into the early morning hours of Sunday, we're talking hours upon hours upon hours of potential freezing rain ensuing across our southern counties south of I-70 and including the metro here as well. We will finally start to see snow pull in between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. in this particular model. And it's not light. It is rather on the moderate or heavy snow shower side. So we have hours of potential freezing rain, And then we switch over to snow early Sunday morning. And this snow continues through the entire day, right on in towards the late night Sunday, finally exiting maybe by about 11 p.m. or midnight. That's one model. I'm going to go into another model right now. It's called the high resolution model. Let me just take this off and now add the high resolution model. So now we're going to officially see a different short range model. As we move forward in time through Saturday morning, even a few flurries are plausible maybe to the north as we're getting the fringe lines of the low pressure system. This is the story that this particular model wants to show us. This is very early in the morning, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. We start to see little bits of freezing rain towards our southwestern counties. By the time we make it to lunchtime, this is where we get more of a widespread, broad threat of freezing rain. This one says it's going to encompass many areas, not an isolated, scattered event, but a widespread threat. And not only does it do that, but it pulls through the entire viewing area, moving through the afternoon and into the evening. We don't start to see a change in snowfall until we make it to about 10, 11 o'clock at night. And finally, by Sunday morning, anywhere between the hours of 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., that snow line drops down to the metro. That's a lot of ice. Those are two different short-range models, and they both paint a significantly different story. Two major stories here. And it has everything to do with the orientation of the atmosphere, where we're seeing the compression and the expansion of warm air in the lower levels, in the mid levels, and the upper levels of the atmosphere, where we're seeing the moisture and the fuel source, where we're taking in warm air instead of cold air. All of these things are constantly changing in the atmosphere every millisecond that it's out there, which is why this makes it so difficult to really hone in and give you a pinpoint 100% accurate forecast in these types of winter storm systems. All right. So this just goes and shows you a perfect example of how we can have two short range, which usually gives us detailed information of the weather forecast, and how they can be completely different, right? One says we're going to see scattered freezing rain through the area, doesn't lift much more than the northern side of the loop overall. But this one says no. We'll have an opportunity all the way through our entire viewing area and then start dropping the freezing rain with snowfall that comes in from the north. All right. That's as far as I can go, is about 12 o'clock in the morning in the high resolution model, which, by the way, the high resolution model is usually very good at predicting and forecasting severe thunderstorm activity for us during the spring and summer season. So we definitely have some weight in this particular forecast model. But the blended model that IBM has made does a pretty good job in winter weather forecasting and an okay job in severe weather activity. So definitely two different things that carry a decent amount of weight with one another that we're trying to decipher through as meteorologists. Again, this is our transparency. We're showing you what we see and what we have to figure out of these storm systems and these forecast models. I'm going to exit out of this right now, and we're going to go into what we can anticipate for accumulation of ice. This is where we're thinking we're going to go, all right, across the board. This is where the First Warn 5 weather team believes we're going to go here at KCTV5 for ice overall. I know this one's a little bit on the vague side, and it only just gives you kind of a rough idea, but at least it's an idea of what you can anticipate for ice. This one really wants to coincide with what we're seeing with the IBM model, okay? More so than what we're seeing in the high resolution model. Sure, there's signs of some ice that are up towards St. Joe, but it's really concentrating around the city, I-70 and south. Okay, and with that being said, the northern side of Platte County, so I'm going to say just north of Platte City, okay, Atchison, Lancaster areas, Doniphan County, even Leavenworth there. I'll give Leavenworth a shout out there. I think this is where we're going to see that opportunity for a glazing of ice to 1/10 of an inch in thickness of ice that could ensue if we don't treat our roadways and sidewalks. As we get just past Lansing, let's say for the Leavenworth side, and just past Worlds of Fun on, basically the eastern side of town, we then start to see a much better opportunity for ice accumulation. This could be closer to around 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. This is going to be again for maybe central and portions of southern Leavenworth County, for Wyandotte County, and moving into the downtown area. Just south of this, moving closer to around Lee Summit, Olathe, Overland Park, right? Even the Shawnee Mission area. And then further south, Harrisonville, Paola, Garnett, Lacine. It's much more likely you're going to see a significant range between 1/4 of an inch of ice in thickness to an entire inch of ice in thickness. That's a lot of ice. That's a lot of ice accumulating on our homes, on our cars, on our trees, on our power lines. This is what could actually bring in significant power outages to the area, this accumulation of ice. We've got to watch out for this. Now let's go ahead and show you what's going on with the snowfall forecasts. This is going to be our European model data that just came down the line mid this morning. We are now issuing up to 16 inches here around the metro. Almost 17 inches to St. Joe, nearly 18 inches to Atchison, almost 14 inches out around Marshall, Odessa, and almost 15 to Richmond. To the south, about 4 inches to Butler, 5 inches down there towards Lacine. Let's look at the American model run. Much different story. And a huge swing, mind you, a massive swing from where we ended at 11 o'clock in the morning yesterday. Because the American model run updated to show us 9.5 inches of snow at 11 a.m. yesterday. Now we're back to 23.5 inches here to the city, maybe 30 inches to Richmond. This is data that's true data of the atmosphere at this time. The algorithms take in true factual data, and we have to forecast and we have to predict. Our models are showing these large values. Is this an opportunity for us to see snowfall at this kind of level? Is this truly a possibility of 16 to 23 inches here to the city? As your meteorologist, I have to be transparent with you. Yes, it is. It's a possibility. It's an absolute possibility. I believe, and the rest of our team believes, it is the worst case scenario of this winter storm system. Is it on the table? Sure, but it is the worst case scenario. So the probability of this occurring is lower, okay? But it is still an option. This still could potentially happen, all right? It's, again, unlikely to occur, but it is something that is plausible. So it's in our wheelhouse. This is something we have to take into consideration as your meteorologist, as your meteorological scientist. Now, we have values that drop all the way down to 4 inches. All right, that is in numerical data for us during this winter weather event, still even here to the metro. So taking all of that into consideration, taking all of this information, we want to give you a healthy likelihood of the type of snowfall that you could expect, okay? And this is what we have come up with the data that we've got from this morning overall. Okay, we're going to pop this up and show you. 10 to 15 inches of accumulation is likely north of the metro. This will basically be around Atchison County, moving up to the northern side of Platte County, Buchanan County, and stretching on over towards the Cameron area. Even Richmond, I want to put you involved in that 10 to 15 inches, okay? For the I-70 corridor, that's the city here, we're talking 6 to 10 inches of snowfall. More likely 6 to 8 inches overall will be very common, with pockets of 10 inches, maybe even up to 12 inches of snow in local or isolated areas. South of the metro and the loop itself, so Harrisonville down to Butler, we're talking 1 to 4 inches of accumulation. But in those locations, our concern is not snow. It will be for the copious amounts of ice that form from this storm system. Okay, that's where we're at right now. Are we going to adjust this? Is this going to alter as we go through the day today? Yes, it's going to alter. It's going to alter. It's going to alter through the actual event as we move forward into our Saturday, into our Sunday forecast. It's because we have constantly seeing fluctuations of our atmosphere with temperature, with pressure, with moisture content, with wind direction. It's always changing. And that's the problem. We can't just stop the atmosphere from moving and say, that's what's going to happen. And especially when it comes down to these winter patterns, it's that pocket of warm air in the atmosphere that's fluctuating constantly that is so hard to predict where it's going to be for a certain amount of time over a given area. And that's why we have such a struggle bus here trying to figure out how much accumulation we're going to see. All right. So we wanted to give you a most likelihood, a worst case scenario, and best case scenario. And I've actually got a very good visual for you on that one. Let's show you that. We showed you this yesterday and we're going to show you again. Absolute best case scenario is, again, we see just this wild shift in the low pressure system at the very last second, and we limit overall precipitation to the area. And even in that particular situation where we're settling in right now with the timing that we have, we're still looking likely to see 4 inches of snowfall, okay, with opportunities for some sleet and freezing rain in there. The most likelihood to occur, though, is going to be that 6 to 8 inches, local areas 10 to 12. We're definitely going to be seeing some ice here, all right, on our roadways and neighborhoods. The worst case scenario is what we've been showing you in our extended forecast, maybe even a foot on average of snowfall, and then possibly getting pockets of that 16 to 23 inches, all right? That's the worst case scenario, all right? So we're somewhere in this middle that we're hoping for here, if not less than that. With all of that being said, we want to make sure that you're prepared for it, okay, guys? Not only that, but we see an exceptional drop in temperature into next week. I'm going to show you the feel-like temperature forecast for Tuesday morning before I head out, because I've got about 30 seconds before I really need to end this. Negative 20 degrees for Tuesday morning's commute. That's your feel-like temperature. The actual air temperature will be around -3 to -5 degrees. Very cold weather also ensues after the storm system that we've got to watch out for. Another live look over the city itself before we get going on this winter storm system. We are going to be here. The entire KCTV5 weather team, news team, we are going to cover this for you live, making sure to keep you informed and protected and safe during the storm system itself. Tune in to KCTV5 and all of our streaming platforms, our social media, as we go through our Saturday, Sunday, and into next week.